Hey guys, Billy here with a Mythic Sludgefist commentary. Currently, it is 9.05, which means that various changes have happened. The main one being Disciplinary Command got buffed and is simming better for fire mages. Testing it on live, I could feel the power difference. Even dropping 2 sockets and using a rank 2 Disciplinary Command versus my rank 4 Fevered Incantation, it still simmed better. So let's get started. First off, I want to preface this poll by saying that I tremendously fucked up this fight, and I probably could have min-maxed so much more, and you will see why. So for my Sludgefist build, I'm using Firestarter over Searing Touch, simply to consistently have my combustion back on the first part. It's possible to do it without, but it requires a little bit of, crit, luck, and maybe a power infusion. I like to be consistent. I'm also using a Disciplinary Command, which requires me to press a spell from all 3 schools of magic to get a crit buff. And then also, I'm using Imperial Ordnance, which is a Spires of Ascension Mythic Plus trinket. So that means I'm using it at 210 currently. And any other questions about my stats or my conduits are in the top left, and my rotation add-on is in the top right. Sludgefist is a fight where every minute the boss takes increased damage, which is really synergistic for Fire Mage, because we have Combust, which is like a minute. The thing is the first phase of the damage increase is roughly 56 seconds in, which means if you badge on pull, you might miss a couple seconds in the damage increase phase. So that's why when you see me do this pull, I badge 5 seconds on the pull timer, 5 seconds before the pull starts, so that it lines up. I do the same thing with Disciplinary Command. I try to, proc it 5 seconds before the fight starts so that it syncs up with, 55 seconds into the fight when the damage comes. And I'm also using Firestarter to make sure that my combust is rushed back very early. So before the pull, I will Blazing Barrier, Frost Nova, and Mirror's Image. Those 3 spells will proc my Disciplinary Command. I have a weak aura that shows it's proccing or not, so I pressed Mirror's Image to finally proc it because I pressed Barrier, Nova, Mirror's Image. I pressed Trinket early before the pull starts, 5 seconds, and then around 3 seconds I will cast Pyroblast, and then I will combust Double Fire Blast, and pretty much do the same opener that we always do. I have a weak aura right here that shows the boss HP with Firestarter, so it can tell me how much benefit I can get. If you're not confident getting your combust back, I would save shifting power till after Firestarter, but I'm actually pretty comfortable getting it back because I get it back every time. So I just do the normal Patrick rotation of just shifting power after rune, like right after combust. Right around, I have a weak aura for my Imperial Ordnance that will tell me when to Imperial Ordnance. So right around now it pops up, this is the weak aura, but I kind of instantly press it because I know, so it goes away pretty quickly, but I will link the weak aura down below. And at this point, I held my Disciplinary Command. I could have procced Disciplinary Command once between if I did it instantly on cooldown, but I think I misplayed and didn't, so I kind of just held the proc, because if you do the proc late, it's really bad. So as you can see, my Imperial Ordnance, the orbs are coming back to me. My badge is going to come off cooldown. You can't really see it, but it's in 3 seconds. And I'm going to proc this Frostbolt. And I'm going to... This Frostbolt should pretty much proc my Disciplinary Command just because I'm going to combust and drop my rune. You can also proc with like counterspell randomly, but that's like whatever. So pretty much I procced my Disciplinary Command and I have my combust up, as you can see right here. I got 9 seconds in the buff. Combust ends. Now this is the only time the fight you can really blink, is right after the damage phase. The chains break and then he picks new chains. So after this, I always rune a power and blink to reposition. And at this point, you are just trying to sit there and farm your combust back. I had to go out of my rune because I want to make sure I don't, I'm not too far from my chain guy. At this point, your goal is just farm your combust back at all costs. Like same thing right here. I could have procced Disciplinary Command on cooldown in between, but because I was a couple seconds late, I decided not to. Because if you're a couple seconds too late to proc it, it's actually pretty bad. The goal of this phase is to just make sure you're chain casting Fireball. So I'm assigned to soak this, which means if I'm assigned to soak this, I'm supposed to block the first one every time, no matter what. That's just my assignment. So right here, my combust is coming up, and I'm just pretty much holding all my Fire Blasts at this point. Just standing still, chain casting Fireballs. I try to not to move when I get the circles. I try not to move instantly. One thing is that standing in these puddles is not that bad. It doesn't do that much damage. It does damage, but it doesn't do that much damage. So if you need to get like in a good position, it's not bad to stand in these, like I did right here, right? So what I did earlier, I procced my Frostbolt, I procced my Disciplinary Command, and then I'm going to, Trinket, Fireball, Combust, or Fire Blast. And just pretty much do the same combust I always do, but I procced my Disciplinary Command with a Frostbolt right here, as you can see. And then remember, as soon as the phase ends, I can use one blink, reposition. And one thing about the circles is I do not move instantly. I think I said this, but I do not move instantly. I try to let someone move to me just so I can continue chain casting Fireballs. But of course, if it's like really far, you have to move no matter what. But if it's like I don't instantly move, if that makes sense, just so I can continue chain casting Fireballs. Same thing here. I could have proc Disciplinary Command, but I forgot, so I just kind of held the proc for combust anyways. And at this point, this is actually something that this is a mistake that happened to me right here. Is the boss? The boss is right there, right? And I scoot to the right more to pre-position because I'm soaking these chains, and I got lined. So right there, I pressed my Frostbolt and counterspell to proc my thing, and I'm actually lined right here. Right here, I was gonna cast a Fireball and precast, but I was actually lined. So make sure you are not lined like I am. Like this right here is lined from the boss. So when I press Fireball, nothing happens. So in hindsight, I should have been more to the left. So I should have been right here. So I could have been back some bit. So pretty much I kind of combusted like maybe a second late. But regardless, I procced my Disciplinary Command and I sent it. Same thing here. When the damage phase ends, you can use one blink. But I mean, I'm kind of close anyway, so I just stood still. I got linked to a healer. I let them move to me because they're very close to me, and I can continue chain casting. If you see one of these, always make sure you move. Later in the fight, I actually died on one. You will see. Very tragic. And like I said, standing in these circles are not the end of the world. I stood in that circle and I used Hellstones though. I didn't have to use Hellstone, but Health Pot was definitely needed right there. As you can see, my health, I'm standing in this and I'm gonna get slammed. So my health goes to like 8k. So using one Hellstone was good, but I shouldn't have used the second one. I used the second one to top myself, but I don't think I needed to. As you can see, like, look at the HP, right? I'm topped and everyone's like 90. Like I probably did not need to use the health. It was overkill, but it's fine. So around, when I see that my trinket in the last phase is around 20 seconds, I press my ordnance just to kind of make sure I get it off. You can see my ordnances right there, because you only get 2 ordnances in this fight. The first pillar and the 4th pillar. So this right here is the biggest mistake of my fight for me. So the last phase, I always potion the last pillar, because we're lusting it. So this, I actually forgot to proc my Disciplinary Command, okay? So this was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. This is like growing pains of Disciplinary Command, right? Like I messed up right here. My Disciplinary Command is not procced, which means I'm doing way less damage. So you just try to remember, like, even myself, I need to remember that it's a priority to proc it. And so yeah, I definitely didn't proc it right there. A misplay. So I could have played this a bit better. I could have played so much of this fight better. My partner's kind of far, so I have to move out of my rune. And right here, I actually die. This is actually very unlucky. This is what I would recommend not doing. Do not be too close to your chain partner, because this is why I died. We were stacked on top of each other, pretty much, so that when a circle comes, and it spawns on us, we kind of we either have to read each other's mind or we die. In our case, we died. So right here, we're 2 stacked, I think. And so when a circle comes, we go different directions. This could have been my fault. So see how it's stacked, and you know, I go left, he goes right. This was a mistake on our part. It killed us. This was like, I could have played that better. I should have not been stacked on the person. That's the easy solution in my eyes. But regardless, this was the only Sludgefist kill I could show you guys. I did die at the very end, so it is what it is. But you know, I could have played this fight so much better. And I think that like Fire Mage is really insane in this fight. You can do way more damage if you play it perfectly. So there's a lot of things that can improve on here. So hopefully this has helped. And thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.